Welcome to Bubblegum Direct training video for the Pastel Daisy inflated number balloon stack. This is one of our absolute all-time bestsellers and it's super easy and super effective. So we really encourage you to give this one a go. And if you do, please tag us with your creations because we would love to see them. Now, first of all, we're going to go through what you actually need to make the number stack. So you've got the timed blower. If you have a timed blower, fantastic. This is a premium 𝐁𝐮𝐻 one, which we have just because of the quantity that we're making. If you don't have access to one of these timed blowers, then a box sizer, a balloon box sizer will absolutely do. We find it really works well as well. So either or is absolutely fine, depending on like how many you're making. It's whether the investment is worthwhile for the timed blower. But for the box sizer, it's a small investment and you get the same size balloons every time. So we're blowing up our 12-inch balloons to 8.5 inches for our number stack base, and we're blowing up our 5-inch balloons to 4 inches. And then the next thing that you're going to need is some 260 modelling balloons. So in this number stack, we've actually got a few different makes of balloons, which we'll go through all of those individually with you so that you know exactly what they are on the final kind of screen to order any that you need. But we are using 𝐁𝐮𝐛𝐥𝐞𝐠𝐮𝐦 Macron, and we're using Tuftex Lace and Tuftex Blossom for the different kind of components. But as you go through, you'll see which ones of those there are, and we'll have a list of all of the balloons that are used at the end. But you need your 260s, and then you're going to need some kind of a weight. So we make our own sand weights, and we're actually just literally using a 16-inch or an 18-inch balloon and putting sand in using a scoop. So we just find these are really effective because they're easy to tie into the structure neck to neck and cost effective to make yourself, so nice and easy. So we've got the 5-inch balloons, which I've just mentioned are a mixture of Tuftex. We've actually got some Qualitex in there as well, and 𝐁𝐿. So we've got all different kinds of balloons in this, which is really cool as well. So for the 12-inch, same thing, different brands. We'll have a list of all of those brands for you. And then we've got the all-important Oasis Floral Tape. Now this stuff is like a godsend for making these number stacks. It just sticks anything onto your numbers and is just so useful. You don't have to use much, and so therefore a roll goes a long way because we know it's quite expensive. And then we're going to use the Grabo 26-inch number balloons. We find that the 26-inch number balloons are the perfect size for number stacks because they're not sort of too top heavy on the number. They just fit in really perfectly. It looks really good, it's impressive. We've got a great range of colours which are all available on Bubblegum Direct, so pop over and have a look. But we really like those number balloons. So we're going to start off making the base. We've got the 12-inch Macron pink balloons there that we're blowing up to 8.5 inches, and then we're tying them together and twisting them into a quad. And we've got lace, which is Tuftex Lace 11-inch, and we've also got a white balloon there, which is a Sempertex 12-inch Fashion White. So we're making 2 quads, which are twisted together, and then we're going to make a quad of 5-inch balloons. So we've got Tuftex Lace there, we've got Sempertex White, and we've got the 𝐁𝐿 Macron Pink. And we're just going to tie neck to neck the 5-inch balloons into the base of the larger balloons that are a mixture of either 11-inch or 12-inch. It's confusing, isn't it? The different sizes with the different brands. I just end up calling them all 11-inch, but obviously I'm trying to make sure I'm using the right terminology for you guys. So we've tied the 2 bases of the 11-inch balloons together with the 5-inch balloons in the middle, and we're just going to inflate the number now. So we're using the blower, but you can equally use a hand blower. And now we've got a 260Q there that we've taken all the air out of, and we've tied it in a knot because that makes it that bit stronger. And we're just rolling the neck of the number balloon around that, and then we're going to tie that into a double knot so it's nice and secure. That's perfect, nice and strong. And then we can use that to tie that safely into the base that we've already made. So we're just going to wrap the 260Q round, or the 260 I should say, around, and then tie that into a knot there. Make sure you double knot it. Just ties it nice and tight when you're using a balloon to tie it in because it pulls it in. some quads here of mini balloons, different sizes, just random. Which we're then going to put a 260 onto, so tie that onto a 260 to then pull over the balloon in a structure. So we've made a loop there and we're just going to loop that in. That just finishes off the base. So they kind of snug into the corners there. We're going to do that all the way around to finish that off. So using the loop we've created, just looping it into the balloons that were already made into the structure. So you don't pull the structure apart trying to twist them into what's there. You're just adding them in on top. Third one going in there. Just looping around. And then next, we need to make the daisies. So we're blowing up the daisy balloons to be the same, the petals to all be exactly the same size. So they're smaller than the 4 inches that we've blown up to. So we're blowing those up to like 2.5 inches. And then we've got a smaller balloon that sits at the back to hold all of the petals neatly out into position. And we've got the smaller balloon that sits at the front as the pollen in the middle. So the important thing is that the petals are all the same size. So you just want to make sure that you're sizing those perfectly. You know, 2.5 inches is perfect. We're just using the timed blower there, so we're doing that for a certain amount of seconds. But it's smaller than when we're blowing up the balloons to go in the middle of the number stack. So it's not as big as 4 inches, smaller than that. So we've got 5 petals, so we're blowing up 5 of the blossom petals here, and we're tying those together. So we've got a trio and a quad, a trio and a duo. We're going to twist those together, and then we've got our 5 petals. Lay those nice and flat if you can. The trick is to have the other balloons added in, which then hold those apart. So one at the front and one at the back. So one's the pollen in the middle and one's literally just there to hold the petals into position. So you slide that into the middle there, twist it into position, and that just perfectly holds the balloons into position. And then you can either use a 260Q around the back balloon to tie that in, or you can use the the Oasis tape to stick that flower onto the number. So whatever you want to do. But we're just literally making a loop like we did with the mini balloons onto the back of that daisy. So cute. And then we can loop that daisy in around one of the balloons. So same thing again, just literally repeat, copy and repeat here. So we're making the petals all exactly the same size. Use your time blower or use your box measurer. Make your 5 petals. So we've got a trio and a duo, and then we just twist those together. Then we're going to blow up the balloon that sits at the back and the pollen. So these are super small. These are like 1 inch, tiny. Tie those nice and tight. And push that into the middle. Just keep going. So we've got 3 of the daisies per number stack. We like everything to be in 3s. An even number just doesn't work, does it? So we generally have like 1 on the number if it's a number 1, or 2 on a number if it's a number 8. but 3 on each of them is just a nice number, uneven. And we're just using the tape there to stick that on because we want it to sit nice and flush at the front. And tape there, sticking it onto the number. And then we go again for the second number because we're making a double number 1 here, but you can equally sell them as single numbers. So we're blowing up the base to the same size, 8.5 inches, twisting those balloons into 2 quads, nice and tight at the neck. So there's not much give in them. And then we're using the neck of the balloon to tie the sand weight in there so that it sits flat, and then blowing up the 5-inch balloons to 4 inches, tying those neck to the base. Just getting the neck to neck there, and just holds it in nice and tightly, so see how snug it sits. And then using that to tie in the next quad on top. Then we've got a number 0 or a 0 here, which we're going to do the 260Q trick around the base. So wrapping that round, tying that into a knot, double knot that, and then use that 260Q to tie into the base structure. So we just wrap that around there and then tie it. Double knot again. And that's your 0 ready to go. Now you need to add your mini balloons onto the edges just to finish that off. So we're adding those in. Sally's adding those there with a 260, creating a loop and then looping those around. They just finish it off perfectly before you then have to add the daisies in. Always taking the air out of the 260s. I know I'm repeating that, but it's so important because it really does make that 260 that bit stronger. You don't want it snapping when it's got the mini balloons attached to it or the flower attached to it or anything. So just do that little bit of process to make it as strong as it can be. Adding the minis all the way round. And then we're just going to make the daisies. So 5 petals, exactly the same size, 2.5 inches is perfect. Make a trio, make a duo, twist those together, and then make the pollen for the middle and the one for the back that holds it all nice and separate. And just slide that in, twist it around, and all your 5-inch balloons just sit nice and flat. This is just copy and repeat, copy and repeat. Just get quicker and quicker making these daisies. Do you see how they just won't sit nicely unless you've got that balloon through the front and the back to actually hold the petals into position? So that's the key to making those daisies without lots of balloon tape. You know, we're trying to avoid using too much balloon tape because it's expensive. Actually, just one little 5-inch balloon at the back makes all the difference. Then you've got your flower that sits perfectly. No balloon tape required, holding the petals into position, which is perfect. That's exactly what you're trying to achieve. So we're doing the yellow one here. I love that yellow colour. That's actually Macron Pale Yellow, one of their new pale colours, so it's super cute. Get your 5 petals. Trio and a duo. This is the last of the flowers that we're making. Twist those together. There we go. 3 flowers ready to add on. So we're just putting some of the Oasis tape on there, and then taping those wherever we fancy. You can tape onto that middle balloon or onto one of the petals, depending on where you want it to sit. It's totally up to you. Looks nice high up on the number there. And then obviously you can use a 260Q round that back balloon if you want to tie it into the base structure rather than sticking it on. So totally up to you which one you do. We find a balance of both is nice. But then you just loop that in, which is so easy. And there you have it. Super easy, super effective, super cute. So we hope you have fun giving a go to the pastel daisy number stacks. Don't forget to tag us. We want to see what you make. Thanks for watching.